News Radio 700 WLW.
Brock, what are we, less than 2 weeks away now from the impeachment procedure to resume in the Senate.
Right, but they had the hearing yesterday to decide if they're going to hear the thing, and only 5 Republican senators joined on with it, which didn't look like a good sign for impeachment going through, but nevertheless, we shall see.
Let's talk to our legal expert in these matters, our good friend Quentin Brogdon. Quentin, where do we stand on this thing right now, in your opinion?
Well, good morning, gentlemen. Good afternoon, rather.
Good afternoon.
Senator Rand Paul yesterday had a motion to kill the impeachment as being unconstitutional, and it failed on a 55-45 vote, with 5 Republicans only joining all Democrats. And some, at least, are saying that's a bad omen about the potential odds for success of the conviction here. The impeachment is just the charge, basically, in the House of Representatives. That's already occurred. Now we're going to have a trial in February, but according to the Constitution, we need a 2/3 vote of the senators, and we've had 55 only upholding the constitutionality of proceeding forward. So many are saying that's a bad omen as far as what may happen going forward.
Yeah, you need 17 Republicans. You only got 5 for this round. Now, I also saw Quentin, I guess Trump is lawyered up, right? Butch Bowers or something, I believe is his name. Now, any chance that Trump countersues and says that this is just a totally illegal proceeding, or does he see it's maybe not going anywhere now, so just ride it out? What do you think?
Well, he can make some fuss in the Senate. They're still sort of sorting out the rules as to what may happen. One interesting question is whether, if he asked to testify, there are no specific rules allowing it or prohibiting it, would they have to allow him to testify? I don't think they have to, but if they don't, what would that do to the appearance of the trial? If he wants a forum to testify, it could be an interesting issue if he says, I'd like to testify in my own impeachment trial.
Wow. Do you think that there's any? Do you think that's any possibility of happening, though, Quentin?
Well, with Donald Trump, you can't handicap anything.
True
I
that.
think you can say just about anything is possible. We've had, multiple presidents impeached, meaning charged with crimes for which they could be kicked out of office, but it's never occurred. Donald Trump, is the first president, and now former president, now impeached twice. So he's making history in multiple respects, but no president has ever been convicted in the Senate with the 2/3 vote necessary, and so I think many are predicting the odds are against it here.
I would imagine that Trump's lawyers and his legal defense are saying, that whole idea of you going on the stand and, we don't want you to do that, right? Because,
Well, just stay in Florida for a little bit.
Because these folks like yourself, Quentin, you're really good at your job, right? And the questions asked that back people into a corner, and then you circle back and say, well, yesterday you said this, now you're saying this, boom, 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 boom.
And it could also be like they did to Clinton, completely unrelated matter, and you ask about something under oath, and then you go back on him and go,
that's exactly right.
Under oath, you said this.
Now let's talk about this
in
thing.
relation to whatever the hell it might be.
Right.
Those are great points. Once you take the stand and testify, and the analogy is in a criminal case, you don't have to testify in a criminal case at all. I used to be a criminal prosecutor, and when people were tried, they could decline to testify, but once they did testify, they were subject to being cross-examined with all kinds of things, and so it would be a mixed bag for him. On the one hand, testifying would give him a forum, a national forum, to make points and say what he wanted to say. On the other hand, it would give lawyers, if they choose to delegate it to lawyers, and or the senators, if they choose to do the questioning themselves, the opportunity to cross-examine him, which could cause some embarrassment.
Yeah, let me ask you about just kind of switching gears here, Quinn, but about cancel culture, because I feel like we're seeing a lot of this. Mike Lindell, for instance, okay, the My Pillow guy, he has been taken off of out of a lot of stores, Bed Bath & Beyond, Kohl's, all that. won't sell his pillows, and also has been taken off Twitter. All of this because of, quote, spreading lies and misinformation. So what is the legal... how is this looked at legally in terms of canceling someone? Because what someone views... Look, and I understand. You may say the reason he got off of Twitter and the stores are not selling his product is because they're saying, well, he believes that Trump's election was, the election was invalid, that kind of thing. Okay, even if you think that's a crazy idea, is that enough for you to be canceled and kicked off of Twitter, or have your product getting kicked out of a store? Is that enough? If you're representing him, what would you say?
Well, your listeners are going to all, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, liberal, conservative, it's just inevitable. It's unavoidable almost that you're going to look at these events, all of these events in recent months and in the last 4 years in particular, through the prism, through the looking glass, if you will, the rose-colored glasses of politics, one way or the other. Whatever side you're on, that's going to influence how you look at it. But I think one thing all sides should be able to agree upon is that a small number of companies now have gained a whole lot of control over the dialogue. And both parties, Democrats and Republicans, are sort of ironically coming together on this and deciding Twitter, Google, Amazon even, and some of these companies, they've gained a whole lot of power. We coddled them in the early years of the Internet age, and the idea was, well, we have to have special rules for them. We need to encourage innovation. We can't let them be sued. We can't subject them to the same kinds of legal, controls and liabilities that you should to, say, a newspaper for libel and other things. But that is now starting to change, and the danger for these companies is that both parties may come together and say, we need to rewrite the rules, specifically a law called Section 230, where that has given them protection and has treated them very differently and essentially has coddled them. And we can debate whether they should continue to be coddled, but they are now some of the very biggest corporations in our economy. So the rules have changed, and there's a consensus developing they should change legally.
Quentin, as far as social goes, we're talking Twitter, Facebook, etc. But banning the Slidell guy, who I think is an idiot, isn't it a privately owned business, and you can ban whoever you want to? Does that have anything to do with an amendment
but what
issue?
kind of precedent said you ban someone for spreading lies and misinformation? For 4 years, we heard everybody in the media spread lies and misinformation about Russian collusion with Trump. Were they banned from Twitter? No. Was anybody defending them? No. But now, okay, so somebody thinks this guy's nuts. Is that a reason for him to get kicked off of a worldwide media platform? I think that's nuts.
Well, I'm not going to be able to solve these questions to the satisfaction of anybody. and these are things everybody's debating around their kitchen table right now. There's no simple answer to these things other than to say we have given power to these large Internet companies, and then now the consensus on both sides is perhaps, maybe we've given them too much power and we need to start reining them back in, because they are guided by one thing, the bottom line. That's what corporations are guided by. And so as long as there's no hit to them financially, then they will let potentially hate speech and all kinds of speech on, and then they will make arguably arbitrary decisions about who to cut off and who to not, who's in power. It's interesting that when Trump lost power, now he's cut off. He was never cut off when he had power as the president. And so some from the left have argued, why wasn't this done sooner? Some from the right have argued, well, why are they doing it now and it's not fair? So you can take either side of the argument, but the consistent theme is that these people we have not elected, and they are making these decisions, it seems arbitrarily, based on what side of the bed they wake up on any given day. We'll let this person speak, we won't. We'll cut this person off, we won't. And it doesn't seem to have any rhyme or reason. Some, at least, are arguing, and it's hard to debate that, I think, at this juncture.
Quentin, always a pleasure, always good conversation.
Well, this isn't going away anytime soon.
No, we'll be talking soon, Quentin.
We'll probably talk to you tomorrow, Quentin.
Those of us who thought that once he left office, President Trump, it would be done, we were sadly disappointed, weren't we? He'll be around a while, it looks like.
Worse, yeah.
Just starting. Thank you, Quentin.
Take care. Stay
Thanks,
safe,
Quentin.
guys.
Our good friend Quentin Brogdon.